contact is simple. It's not necessarily easy, but it is simple in the sense that there aren't a lot of things you need to remember to do or not do. All you have to do is not reach out to your ex and not respond unless they say something significant. And by significant, I mean that they say something that leads you to believe that they are rethinking their decision and they may want to get back together. Everything else is a breadcrumb. So, although it may be difficult if you have an anxious attachment style, no contact is simple. However, where people make their mistakes when they're trying to get an ex back is when they are in contact with their ex. So I want to talk about the biggest mistakes people make once they're in contact after being in a period of no contact. Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. I'm a dating and relationship expert specializing in helping you get your ex back or to get over your ex. And welcome back, my beautiful no contact army. If you have downloaded my app Silencio, be sure to update it as we regularly fix bugs and make changes. And if you haven't downloaded it, the link is underneath every single video and podcast. And be sure to check out our No Contact Army manual, where you can read 2 free chapters before you purchase the book, and that is at nocontactsecrets.com. And yes, of course, the link is underneath every video and podcast. So before I start, I want to mention something that's been on my mind, and that is that, believe it or not, 65% of people who listen to me are not subscribed. So if I can ask you a favor, it would be, if my videos have ever helped you and you want to give something back in return, then please just hit the subscribe button. And I promise that I will continue to work hard to put out interesting and helpful videos so that you will have a better chance of getting your ex back. Thank you. Okay. So to illustrate the mistakes that people make when they're trying to get an ex back, I'm going to use the example of a woman I know who is not a client, who made pretty much all of the mistakes you can make in trying to get an ex back. So she was dating this guy. They were never official or exclusive. And she broke up with him because he didn't want to commit. And she had something at his home, some sort of kitchen, something, I don't know. And she didn't go to get it when she broke up with him. She thought, you know what, I'll just buy another one. I don't want to see him again. If I ever need that, I'll just buy another one. Okay, keep this in mind. It's a very important part of the story. And he never brought it up. So time goes on. She starts dating someone else. And she thinks this new guy is the love of her life, is the one, is the soulmate. And unfortunately, after a few months, he breaks up with her. So she's devastated. Now, whenever someone breaks up with you, you usually want comfort. You want to be with someone who you know has positive feelings for you, or at least had positive feelings for you. So often that means that you want to speak to the last person you dated before this breakup. So she wanted to have contact with the ex, the one she broke up with, even though consciously she may not have thought that, subconsciously she did. And so even though she had said, oh, well, if I ever need that item, I'll just buy another one. Did she do that? No. And that led to, well, disastrous results, as you're going to see. So she contacted him to get it back. And she said, listen, you can just leave it on your front door and I'll pick it up. But secretly, she was probably hoping that he wouldn't do that. And in fact, he said, no, it's okay. I'll drop it off. Sure. So they arranged a time for him to drop it off. Did he just drop it off and leave? Of course not. They both want to get their dopamine fix, their dopamine hits, because, you know, when it involves getting an ex back, you're a junkie and you'll do anything to get a hit. So he came in and they talked for 2 hours, which is another mistake. As I said in a video, I think the title is Do Not Give This to Your Ex. I'll put the link in the upper right-hand corner on YouTube. you do not give your ex hours and hours of time when you finally speak to them, if you ever speak to them at some point, especially if you broke up with them because they didn't want to commit. It's like they didn't want to commit, you were forced to move on, and now you're going to give them 2 hours of your life. I mean, nothing like showing that you're still very interested. And the conclusion they came to was that they were going to take it slow. Sure. This is such a stupid concept. This taking it slow. It never works. It's just BS. It just sounds good. Okay, we're going to take it slow. Okay, think of it this way. Imagine you have a car and there's something wrong with the car. Okay, the brakes don't work, whatever. And instead of fixing the car, you know, you put it in the garage for whatever, 3, 4, 5 months, and then you take it out and you go, well, I'm just going to drive it slow. I'll just drive 5 miles an hour. There's issues with the car, so I'll just drive slow. Okay, well, what do you think is going to happen? You think the problem went away just because you left it in the garage? Or now because you're going to drive 5 miles an hour? If there's a problem there, it's going to pop up at some point. So that's just BS, this whole taking it slow thing. And so, no, of course, they weren't exclusive. They started to date. And at first it was fine, of course, until it wasn't. And she saw him out with another girl and they looked very chummy. And that's when she had to, cut it off for good. And another mistake that she made was that she did not ask the 6 questions. When they decided to take it slow, she needed to ask him the 6 questions, which I talk about in my video, the 6 questions to ask your ex if they want you back. And I'll put the link in the upper right-hand corner. And those are meant for your protection. And I find that some people are afraid of them. They're afraid to ask them because they're afraid that they're not going to get very good answers, which is the whole point. It's like if your ex is not willing to give you great answers to these questions, there's no point in getting back together. Or if they're not even willing to answer the questions at all, what's the point of getting back together? If they want to get back together, they need to show that they very much want to get back together and that they made a mistake, either in breaking up with you or in this case, in not committing to her. Well, I mean, she didn't know about the 6 questions, but I'm talking to you guys who do know, or now you know, there's no point in getting back with an ex unless you ask the 6 questions. Why should I take you back? What's going to be different? How are you going to make it up to me? Etc., etc. The other 3 questions. And so now he's definitely gone for good because this is the second breakup. So the mistakes she made were, first of all, breaking no contact, right? Because in that whole time after she broke up with him, he never once contacted her. So what does that tell you? The interest just isn't there. Sometimes if someone isn't that interested, you just have to accept that fact and keep it moving. As opposed to, I see people in the comments saying, oh, no contact doesn't work. No contact doesn't work. No, just because it didn't work for you, it doesn't mean it didn't work. It's because the person was totally done or just not that interested. And then the second mistake, well, I was going to say it's letting him come in, but you know what? I know that 99% of people, if their ex dropped off an item and he wants to just come in or she wants to come in, they're not going to say, no, just give me my thing and go away. They're not going to do that. And so that was the second mistake. The third mistake, of course, talking for 2 hours. It's like, what for? How did that help? Talking for 2 hours and not asking the 6 questions. So this isn't just a matter of, oh, I'll do no contact and then I'll get my ex back. No. After you are in contact with the ex, if you don't handle things correctly, then there's going to be a second breakup. And the more breakups you have, the less chance you have of getting your ex back. So you don't just want to get back and on a hope and a prayer that, oh yeah, this time it's going to work out. No, maybe if you're lucky, maybe if you go slow, the car won't break down, but I doubt it. Okay. So now I want to hear from you. How long have you been in no contact and how is it going? And if you would like my help to get your ex back, you can contact me at theartoflove.net/coaching and we will send you the rates. The direct link is underneath every single video and podcast. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when a new video is up. And if you're listening to this as a podcast and you would like to help the show, then please download this episode. And finally, remember, love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.